So you're kind of an interesting person for me to talk to, because you've worked in the kennels with Greyhound Racing for how many years have you done that?
Did it off and on for about 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay. And then at some point, I don't know if it was after that.
It was after I went to Halifax Humane Society.
You went to work for the Halifax. It's a shelter.
Yeah, for
an animal shelter.
It's a division of the Humane Society.
Right, and it's run by the county, or it's run by the county, or
no,
run by...
it's they get their funds through the Humane Society.
Really? The Humane Society
of America.
Of the United States? Oh, they do.
And they get donations from them, and they operate on mainly donations. But you have a family out here that owns funeral homes that gives them a good portion that think they're good people. But
some shelters are sort of self-funded in a way,
yeah,
helped out by the Humane Society of the United States. Some of them are taxpayer dollars. Operate them, I guess, is how that works. Either way, they have the same concept, which is basically keeping stray animals off the streets so they're not everywhere, I guess, right? Causing issues.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. So they collect them, try to get them adopted out, and they're, according to the way, I guess what they're trying to do is adopt most of them out if they can.
Yeah, they try.
But I guess it all depends on what county you look at. I see some counties almost have no animals getting adopted out.
I worked in the stray department, so I saw every animal that came through the door. I seen.
How long did you work at the shelter?
I was there about a year.
A year. So let's go back to when you worked at the at the kennels with the Greyhound Racing.
Okay.
What were your experiences there? And
I started off as a lead out person walking down.
Oh, okay, you're a lead out.
And me and her was talking. I told her I wanted to work more with the dogs and whatnot, so she knew of an opening. So I had talked to the guy, and I got hired, and that's when I started working in the kennels. And then me and him had a language barrier because he spoke Spanish and I spoke.
Oh, he didn't speak English at all?
He did, but it was very broken.
It made it hard to communicate.
Well, so
you worked in a kennel for a while, then you went to an adoption group. Was that a volunteer type of the thing?
No.
Oh, you got paid for that?
Yeah, the track pays for the employees.
So then you went from the adoption group back into more kennels, working for another kennel?
Yep.
And you were doing the same thing that you were doing before?
Yeah, but I did more because I enjoyed it more, and they needed more help, which I didn't mind. I enjoyed it. I was working like 60, 70 hours a week, I want to say.
Oh, wow. It's hard work.
Not only that, people who work in those kennels, they put those animals first before their family, their kids, anybody. Those dogs come before anything.
Yeah. Well, they have to be taken care of. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas.
No, it doesn't.
They still got to eat and let out.
Doesn't matter what day it is, what the weather's like, what's going on, anything. You got to be there.
Yeah. So you don't work in the racing industry?
No more.
Yeah. You've been away from it for a while, or?
Yeah, I've been away from it for like 2-3 years.
So Greyhound Racing has been put on the ballot because the activists claim that it's inhumane treatment of animals. Did you ever notice any type of inhumane treatment?
Never.
Never did?
Never.
With your experience and what you've witnessed in those few years or whatever that you worked in the racing industry there, do you think that's a pretty good assumption of what the activists are saying as far as banning the racing because it's cruel?
No, that's highly wrong.
Yeah.
Like my Greyhound, she's only had 2 races, and according to them, dogs that don't make it, they get shot, put down, and killed.
Yeah. What's your dog's name?
Kaya.
Kaya. So Kaya only raced twice. And pretty much showed not much of an interest in racing, and so she was adopted out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good dog. I've met thousands of greyhounds through this 8-month investigation of greyhound racing and how dogs are treated. I've never met a greyhound that's growled at me or met a greyhound, and I've met thousands of them. Never met one that somebody said, careful, that one might bite you.
She doesn't bark.
She does. Greyhound Racing has, they say it's a 95% adoption rate, but it's actually higher than that because for some reason they don't tally up the dogs that stay on the farms, go back to the farms, or if a trainer takes a dog, they, for some reason, those aren't counted in the.
Yeah. She's not probably in that statistic.
She's probably not in there. Yeah. I think it's closer to 98%.
I would say. Yeah. I know plenty of trainers who've taken the dogs home and adopted them.
Talk to any trainer. They most likely have a Greyhound at home.
At least
or
one.
two. Yeah. I know somebody that's got 3 of them.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. You said you worked at the shelter? We call it a shelter even though it's an independently funded sort of, not funded by the taxpayers.
No.
Still an animal shelter.
Yes.
And you worked in the back and you cared for the animals, you fed them, and that kind of thing. Would you bathe them or feed them or did all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, everything we cleaned out. There in the morning time we'll put them, lock them outside so we clean the inside, and then bring them in afterwards and clean the outside, scrub it, the walls, everything. And part of my job that was the good part is the quote-unquote aggressive dogs, or the dogs that are in their mind unadoptable, we had to put down.
If they're unadoptable, they deem them unadoptable for certain reasons.
They have a thing called safer assessment, where if it shows food aggression, certain aspects with meeting a dog to dog, they are considered unadoptable, so they'll put them down.
Now Halifax is a pretty big shelter there, I believe.
Yeah, they're just now expanding it and making it bigger.
They are. How many animals? Do you have any idea how many animals are taken in on average every year over there?
At least 10,000.
At least 10,000.
At least.
They obviously have an adoption program over there for dogs and cats and that kind of a thing. Did you ever witness like when they euthanized them or anything like that?
Yeah, I had to help. I had to restrain the dog down while they did it.
Really? Now, is that's messed you up a little bit?
Oh yeah.
You have some problems dealing with that still, or what?
Yeah, I think about it. There was this one dog they deemed aggressive, and I wouldn't consider it aggressive. I considered it an abused animal because that dog, it went to bite only when you touch its neck, and I would assume that's because it was choked or something with the neck area. Because I could get in the kennel with it, and they said do not get in that kennel. That dog's aggressive. I could lay that dog. That dog would lick my face, hug me, and everything. But if you touch its neck, that's when it would get aggressive. Which to me it seems.
But it would warn you before it would bite you. It would like growl at you. And stuff.
Yeah. But other than that, I fought them for at least 3 to 6 months.
Really? They kept the dog around that long, and then they finally euthanized it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the people there, the crew, they made me help them.
That's what the helpers do over there. They gotta help restrain the dogs because the dogs don't want to be up there. They don't know what's going on. But
yeah, and it's only people in the stray department. I work in the stray department.
Stray department, and that's the only area where they euthanize the dogs.
Yes.
They don't.
For cats.
Oh, they don't.
They'll bring in feral cats, and after about a week, if they're not clean, they put all the feral cats down.
And feral cats aren't really adoptable so much because they're wild.
Exactly. That's why they should have a trap and release program. Spay, neuter them, and then just let them
Right.
go.
And then, can you explain a little bit, like they clip the ear or something to signify that they've been spayed or neutered, right?
I'm not there.
Oh.
But I don't know how the other agencies' trap and release program works because Halifax don't have one.
So they don't have one, period.
Not one at all.
So how long were you working there before you were introduced to the euthanization part of it?
2 months, if
Really?
that.
2 months into it?
Yeah, and there was one time where a supervisor got fired because she decided to put down an animal that was owner's, and the owner went to go claim the dog.
Really?
And when it was told it was put down, and she put down the wrong dog. So they're supposed to have a paper trail, and the supervisor didn't follow the paper trail, and
There was no way to tell the owner exactly what happened, or what the got put down. Nothing was there to tell the person not to euthanize it.
There was paper there. They just didn't go. They just didn't check the paper.
Oh wow.
They're careless with handling important documents.
So at this one animal shelter, how many animals do you think are put down, like in a year?
A lot, because they put down animals for space too.
For space?
If it's overcrowded, they'll put down animals that's been there for a while. And then
do they usually do that? Do they usually work from the like from the back forward, like who's been there the longest, and then they'll start.
No order.
No order whatsoever. It's just up to whoever's in there doing it.
Yeah.
They'll say, hey, you got to put down like 10 of them.
Yep.
Now, did any day go by where they didn't put down any animals?
Oh yeah, there's some days, and those are good days.
Mm.
And then the saddest days are when a dog that's pregnant comes in, because then the vet automatically goes in and kills the babies off, or if the vet didn't see it and us workers would hide it, because us workers had heart and wanted the baby to survive, we found out that after the mom gave birth that she would kill the babies upon birth.
How would they kill the babies?
Put them down.
They would. The babies are still inside the mom, right?
Yep.
So did they
go in and did an abortion on the mom?
After the dog was dead?
No, before. Like.
And then they would kill the dog?
No, they would keep the.
Oh, they keep the mom, and they would. Okay, they would do an abortion on the puppies.
Puppies. Or if with the mom gave birth, after birth they would.
Now you had to be in the room when they performed that procedure?
Oh, I refused to do it. No.
Now you seem like you started working at the kennels because you really enjoyed being around the animals.
Yes.
Is that sort of the same premise or reason why you went to work at the shelter? Because you love animals.
Yeah,
and then you got to see this
and
bad side
they had
of it.
some good benefits that I needed and whatnot, and I got hired on because at the time my mother-in-law was working there.
How long were you there before you started thinking, I'm not cut out for this, or I can't handle this?
Probably about like 8-10 months, but because I had a family, I wasn't going to leave a job until I had another job. Because I have 2 kids and a wife, and I'm not going to not work.
You so like you've never come out and said this, but I mean and I don't really know anything about you, but I just like something's telling me like you were haunted by some of the stuff that you've seen. You said you made a comment that
every now and then I still think about it, like why would I still continue work there and whatnot, but sometimes I just put a wall up just so I don't have to think about it, because I can never imagine doing that.
Sometimes thoughts just pop into your head, memories from working there that are kind of haunting.
Scar, because that one dog, it bit me right there.
You know, I know they used to kill 10,000 animals in this country every year in the shelters. It's down to 3 to 4 million now.
Sound like up.
Well, I'm saying that, yeah, I mean, you know, they're euthanizing a lot less, but they're still euthanizing millions of animals. And, you know, my question is, how come these animal rights groups, they want to chase after Greyhound Racing with a 95% adoption rate, you know what I mean? And
ironic, the whole time I was there, I never saw a single Greyhound up in there.
Yeah.
But they talk all this crap about Greyhounds, but that was one breed I never
did?
Never.
The whole year?
The whole year, never saw one Greyhound.
Yeah, well, there's a network of people that's a safety net for these dogs that care for this one single breed.
And the people who adopt are well versed in training on how and know not to let a Greyhound off leash.
Or anything that's running.
Yeah, but they're forced to run. But I could put it in my when my mother-in-law had a big backyard. I put it in the backyard, and I had to bring her inside to stop it from running, because I know Greyhounds where they will run until they pass out or collapse. If you let them in.
Yeah. Well, if I could run 40 miles an hour, I'd be out there doing the same thing. It's like a superpower.
But if we have a thing in our mind tell us when to stop, they don't have that. We gotta be their brain for them.
Yeah. You know, I tell people too, go if you've ever hung out with a Greyhound, ever, for longer than a minute, you know they've never been abused.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not an animal behaviorist or by any means, but this isn't how. You know.
Every time people will come up to her and whatnot, they say, "Is she a rescue?" I said, "No, she's not a rescue. She's retired." It's like, what's the difference? I said, when you say rescue, it makes it sound like they're being abused, like they were abused. They're not rescued.
That's the public perception, though.
Exactly.
The public perception of the Greyhounds is they've been abused and they have to be rescued. Nothing could be further from the truth.
And a lot of people think that because they have muzzles on, that we're abusing them. Well, all it is to protect them from the other Greyhounds that when they play, they nip at each other. And as you can see, their skin is like paper.
It's just like a person's skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But thinner.
It actually feels thinner than my skin.
And it's actually thinner.
Yeah. Yeah, they cut easy. So when greyhounds are playing, they play with their teeth. Or sometimes they get aggravated and nip at some, you know, it just takes a little nip and they're cut wide open and you got to go to the vet.
Just like humans, there's only so much.
And the greyhound racing industry knows that. It's mandated by the industry that they have to wear them. It's a safety thing. They can breathe just fine in it. They can drink water in it.
Yeah.
And they're not actually, they don't seem to be bothered by it when they're wearing them.
They're like having another kid.
Yeah, I was up at the track, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and it was schooling, and the three dogs ran around, and it was only halfway around, and one of the dogs saw all of us by the wall and stopped and was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" So that dog was immediately gonna be, I guess, you know. This one's going to have to be so this dog, that dog there will have participated in 0 races, and it's going to be adopted out. The activists will tell you an exorbitant amount of greyhounds are bred every year, and only a small percentage of them race, making people believe that all these greyhounds are put down. Greyhounds aren't put down.
No.
The greyhounds are not put down. There's a waiting list for people that want a greyhound, and it could be up to 3 months before you can get one.
And the thing is, when I was working the track, there was one time, it's the middle of the summer, hot. About middle of the day when the race was going on, Grade 2K was at the track doing their normal propaganda crap. They had a greyhound out there with no water.
Wow.
Nothing. In the middle of the day, no shade, no umbrella, no nothing. And we went over there just to bring ice water over there just for the dog.
So out of all the racing greyhounds that were on the track, the only greyhound being abused was the one the activists had out the front of the track.
In the middle of the day, hot as can be, no water, no nothing. So we went over there, brought an ice bucket of water for it.
Well, I want to convince people to donate to their local shelters. Let the local shelters do campaigns on public awareness on spaying and neutering and sort of for it, But I think $400 million a year that's being siphoned away from the shelters and being directed into a scam organization that is pretending to help animals. It's causing some catastrophic damage.
Oh, it is.
And so much needless suffering. You almost can't even put it into words. I would do anything to convince people to donate to the local shelters, man. You know. Yeah, that's how you help animals, not by giving to these groups.
They need it more than the groups do.
Definitely.
Because all you're doing is helping these groups get rich and use the money to make themselves even richer.
Yeah. It's a fact. The Humane Society collects 100 to 150 million a year. They spend half of that on fundraisers.
Oh, on advertisements and stuff like that.
They spend 0.5% helping any kind of animal. So it's just they should be in jail, man, from everything I can tell.
Oh, I agree.
The Humane Society with the Protect Dogs, they're running a campaign to ban Greyhound Racing. They've got 2 commercials out. Half the footage that they've used in their commercials was footage they stole from me, from my Facebook page.
I know, I saw
where I make videos showing how greyhounds aren't abused.
I know, my wife and I
They slow the imagery down, darken it, and play creepy music.
My wife and I saw that and just laughed like, y'all idiot.
Everything about them is deceiving. Can't blame them. No, it's going to be, and there's nothing in the legislation for phasing out greyhound racing that even talks about what's going to happen to the dogs. It's nothing even written in there. There's no plan. We have radical out-of-state animal rights activists coming in here and tampering with our Constitution. Watching how greyhound racing was put on the ballot, it wasn't put on the ballot based on any type of investigation, any type of truths. All lies, all propaganda, and paid politicians. Lots of videos, but I can't force people to watch them, but the truth is in there. The truth is in the videos, you know what I mean, that I've been making. People keep complimenting me and thanking me, calling, just giving me all these compliments, and all I've done was share with everybody truthfully what I've seen, because I have no agenda. Well, anyway, Sean, man, it was a pleasure to talk. Yeah, nice to meet you, and appreciate you letting me come and hang out with you for a little bit. And
no problem, man.
Chat with you.